Hey guys, what's up? In this video we are going to create a simple zoom feature for the third person camera. As a small bonus, I also show you how to combine it with the third person to first person camera switch tutorial. Here's the quick preview. I'm scrolling with the mouse wheel and as I zoom in, we seamlessly switch to the first person view. When I zoom out, we return to the third person view. Let's dive into it. I'm currently inside the third person template and we're using the Unreal Engine 5.3. If you haven't watched the camera switch tutorial, I will link it in the video and in the description below, but you can follow along even without it. First, let's create the necessary input action. Navigate to the input action folder and create a new input action called input action zoom. Open it and set the value type to float, since we'll be using the mouse wheel for the zoom. Now go back to the content browser and search for the IMC default. Here you can see all of our input actions. So add the newly created input action here. Then to select the key, click on the small icon here and then scroll with the mouse wheel to select mouse wheel axis. And then we can already move to the third person character. Open it up. Here you can see from the previous tutorial mentioned before, but we won't need it here. Make some place and right click, search for input action zoom. Then we add a branch from the triggered. Get the third person camera. If you haven't done the tutorial before, it should be something like follow camera. Get the is active. Plug this into our branch. From the mouse wheel axis, we want to get the not equal to 0 and plug it into another branch. Then get the camera boom and set the target arm length here. If both conditions are met, we proceed to set the target arm length of the camera boom. Now let's multiply the value by -200. Then we get the actual camera length of the camera boom. That needs to be a plus, not a multiply. So remove it and add a plus node. Connect them both. And then we want to clamp it between 115 and 600, for example. Then search for f-interp. Then plug the clamp into the target and the current target arm length into the current. The delta time should be 0.015 and I use a speed of 8. This is for me the current best value, but you can play with those around. Now connect the if-interp to the target arm length here above. And that's it for this simple zoom, so let's test it out. We can zoom out to 600 and then we can zoom into around 115. Now let's handle the part from the previous tutorial where we switch to the first person camera. From the target arm length, create a branch, and from the target arm length value, we want to check if it's less than 165, for example. Make sure to make it higher than your minimum value of your clamp. Connect it to the branch, and if this is true, we want to set the first person camera as active, so connect it here to this one. So now let's get to the zoom out part from the first person camera. So check if the action value is less than 0. Create a branch from the false if it's not active here. When it's not active, we know we are in the first person camera and not the third person camera. And if it's true, if it's less than 0, we want to set the first person camera to inactive and the third person to active. So connect it here. That's it. So let's test it. Zoom in, and as you can see, we switch to the first person camera. And now if we zoom out, we go back to the third person camera. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to join our Discord. Bye for now, see you in the next one.